Shit, I forgot what I was supposed to do. That's okay. Again, post edit. What's good, everyone? Not live, anyways. But what's good, everyone? Welcome to the third episode of 21 Questions, the High Ground QA. I am your host, OG Bam, and I'm thrilled to have you join us as we continue this exciting journey where curiosity meets conversation. On this episode, I am joined by my counterpart in Playin Possum podcast, NYC, Unc Chris for Triple P, because we're both Chris. So, Chris, happy belated birthday to you. And how are you?
I'm thinking I'm feeling way better now. I was sick for a few days and I was just getting this congestion out, but I'm doing good. 44th revolution around the earth now.
I'm getting sick too. That's why I had to skip a day. So, um,
Understood. Everybody seems like they're getting it.
yeah.
So
This is our first episode being out of HGU. So usually we had the two HGU guys on here. Now for this week and next week, I'm gonna have two Triple P guys on here, and then after that, we'll see what happens. Um,
yeah,
so basically, how it works, I don't know if you watched anything or some of the clips. It is 21 questions. They're a little bit deeper than normal. I had to rearrange certain questions. You still got the same seven that I give the other guys, but the other
yeah,
14 I had to go because of where you live and you're older. You're like me, so a little bit different questions for you.
of
Um,
course.
you can answer them short. You can answer them long. We can have a conversation about it. Um, It's up to you because, some people answer one question in 10 minutes and end up saying the same thing 4 different times in 10 minutes.
Right.
Oh,
I'll try my best. We'll try our best to. I'll try my best to avoid being redundant.
some of them, some of them deal with the podcasting life. Some of them deal with where you live. Some of them will make you think back when you were a child. So this might be right difficult. So, but we can start. Um, we can start by saying New York City is a loud place. Don't go there unless you really, really, really can handle it.
You know what? I think as it 44 years now in New York, I think it gets to a point where if you go somewhere quiet after like maybe 3, 4, 5 days,
Hmm.
you start to crave for that, like, you know, bang, bang, shit like that,
Right. All
you
right.
know.
Let's see. Let's see if we can get through some of these. The first
Yeah.
question was good. If your life were a book, what would its title be?
My life was a book. What would I title?
Yeah.
Oh man, this can go so many different directions. Um, if I had to put a title to my life, uh, let's say, oh man, I had something ready for this. I know is learn quick, but I need the other. I need something to back that. Learn quick, get kicked.
Learn
Learn
quick
quick,
or get kicked.
get.
It's not a bad answer. Why is that? Why is that your
Well,
answer though?
some people know, some people don't. My father died. I was relatively 12 years old. He died of lymphoma. That man couldn't stop smoking cigarettes if you paid him to. So it was,
Hmm.
39 years old. He'd even make it his 40th birthday. So that caught up with him quick. So at 12 years old, I had to learn to basically, it was a different era. 12
Right.
was 1993. You know, so I had to learn like, okay, my mother was doing it by herself after that when he got sick, and she got me my first job when I was 13 years old. And it's like, okay, I have to learn, I'm gonna, you know, what it's like to be a man, go out and eventually later on in life provides for a family. This is a good time to learn. This is a good learning process. Because
Hmm.
if I don't learn too early and I learn too late, that they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right. That's
So
correct.
learning at an age of 13 to stand out in the cold my first job was I don't know if you're familiar with the Salvation Army, the kettle people. That was the first job I had. The check would go under her name, but I would get the money for it,
Right.
because labor that's
Right.
and then I landed my first full time job when I was in high school, working at a local deli where I lived.
Right.
I started learning the meaning of money, trying to be a provider, how to not blow your money, things like that, I'd be, mid teens, that's what I say. Once that main figure is gone in your life, you gotta next man up. That's what I had an older brother, but he's not as ambitious as I am. He wasn't as ambitious as I am.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a little on the lazier side. I'm a little more, I can't be like that. I can't be like
All right. So you being in your 40s now, having spent decades in New York City, how has the city shaped your personality and your approach to life?
I think it approaches your life like always be around, like be aware. Always, I think this is anything in life, no matter where you are. It could be New York, it could be Minnesota, it could be Louisiana, it could be anywhere. It could even be where you are,
Mm-hmm.
and that is always pay attention to what's going on around you.
Right.
Always, and you know, there's never a wrong. There's not wrong to like go to one day to a random day to a park and just people watch, and just observe people's behaviors, watch their actions, watch this, watch that, and you just realize, like, am I too normal or am I abnormal? And people like what I look at are the normal ones.
Right.
It's and living in anybody who's ever been to New York or lives in, I know the guy you have next week, he's another New Yorker like me. We'll tell you the same thing. He's gonna say the same shit.
I'm concerned about next week's episode because I know him too. Uh, let's see. Okay, these are some of these questions I have marked like number 3, number 4, both questions that everybody will get. So my guys got it. You guys are got it. Uh, and this applies to you in Triple B,
Okay.
or if you have your own personal, it will apply to that too. What's been your favorite moment in podcasting so far?
I think growing the brand, growing the name Triple T, and you know, I think there's no moment that's. I think what my favorite moment will be is when we start really taking off, and like I said, becoming more and more, like I said, of a higher name, of more of a brand, giving the people entertainment, giving them, like maybe dialogue with the people back and forth, have nice conversation,
Right.
little debates, it's okay to disagree, to agree with certain people. I mean, sometimes it is hard to discuss with people on the internet because, a lot of them very quick trigger. I mean, I'm the kind of person, if you like chocolate donuts, I like vanilla donuts. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go have some donuts together.
Let's see which one of them. That's how you figure out that when you like one, you like the other. That's how you figure out that both of you might like strawberry donuts. So
That's right. Exactly. Or Bavarian cream.
right. So, all right, it was a good one. Number 4, if you could create a podcast episode with an unlimited budget, what would the theme or concept be?
Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, and I'm not going to say have unhinged material, but it's kind of like, I seen this in one of our Hold My Nuggets threads as a question, but I think I would expand on it. I think it was Shibuya, Shibuya.
Yeah.
Uh, he
Mm-hmm.
mentioned what is the most controversial opinion. I will go one step further and say, was the most controversial, where do you stand on the most controversial topics today? Open it up. Want to open things. I want to see where people stand. I want to see where people's heads. I more or less may know, but it's like, for me, seeing is believing.
Right.
You know. So I want to see where people's heads are at. I want to see what people's thought processes. Maybe, try to like make a unity of like people, bring some peace because it's just too much, you know,
So
differences of
basically,
opinion. Hey, if you don't think like this, you don't think like me or us, you're one of them. It's like, no. All right, I can
basically, you want to show where it's like, you ask people, hey, if we have this opinion about like a sports team, hey, raise your hand, this type of, you can talk about this thing that you have a common. And then if you have this opinion about politics, what is it? They all differ, but we still over here, we agree over here, we differ over here, we're still friends. That's the type of show you want. I like that because that's teaching the viewers and even the people that, because some of them still gonna get mad, that it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay to disagree. It's
Yeah,
fine.
and you can still be friends. You can still hold the same core value as friends amongst each other. Is that they shouldn't make or break friendships. And I have seen where things like that have made or break friendships and relationships, and it's disgusting. That's not how I was raised to be. You could have different. You could like this guy. You could like this. Okay, cool. It's not for me, but he's still cool. Maybe I'll check it out. I'll be open minded.
Exactly. I mean,
But
it's
that's me. Yeah.
yeah, politics is a dangerous place today, anyways.
That's when you got to call.
There is a wrong person now, but there's not a wrong idea. I wouldn't say that because we're not a politics panel, so there's not a wrong idea. There might be a wrong person with bad ideas that we don't have to like.
Right.
This is not a wrong side. Conservative, I don't hate y'all. I don't hate anybody that's conservative. Just the orange one. That's it.
I get what you're saying. Trust me. And like I said, you can hate him. You can like. Yeah, I could like hate, but you know what? It doesn't change how we
Right.
interact with each other. And it
Doesn't
should. It should.
It doesn't
Hey,
take Chris. Hey, Chris. Yay.
we grew up in a different generation. That's why. We were raised a little differently.
You're raised in the 90s with you youngies.
And
80s for him.
exactly.
All right. Number 5. What's a conversation that changed the way you see the world? You see how that segued into that? That's great.
Honestly, it was somewhere. Um, I would say when 9/11 happened on that day.
Yeah, you was there too.
I remember I was 20 years old at the time. And my mother had come home, rest her soul. She died in 2008. Right. So she came home. I was sleeping, it was like my day off from work. And she came home and she said, "Hey, Chris, a plane crashed." I'm like, hey, planes crash almost every day, especially today. But we're talking about back then. Um, she said plane crash. I says, okay, whatever, dumbass pilot, whatever. I click the TV on, and all I see is the fucking Twin Towers. Lays right through. I was like, oh, so this is what you was talking about. Okay. So I put on my Walkman at the time. Yes, Walkman. I'm taking it back. I was listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with the personality Don Imus, because I used to listen to WFAN at the time up here in New York. He was in the morning show, in the morning slot, and he was just talking about the night. I was listening to everything going on down there, and I had breakfast not like a couple blocks from where I live, and then I walk out. It wasn't even a conversation I had with somebody per se until later on that the day after, and I seen the second tower disappear because I could see the World Trade where I used to live. And I think second tower disappeared that morning. I was like, you got to be shitting. This shit's like gone in front of my eyes. It's crazy. And then I have a friend, he worked as a bus operator at the time. He took me down to ground zero because he was
Mhm.
transporting rescue workers. And the conversation we have with people there really changed the outlook on life. That's why I said back in the beginning when you asked me about the title of the book, learn quick or get kicked. In taking all this knowledge while you're young and your brain is still developing pays big dividends if you hang around with the right people.
I gotta keep remembering that I just want to keep light conversation on my side and have y'all explain everything like you did, like you
Yeah,
have, because I want to
yeah,
be talking about it, but I keep forgetting that somebody in ACU said don't be too open on the other side because we have to interview you one day too.
that's right.
I gotta remember that. I was like,
See?
you're ready to go into the whole talk about where I was at, this, and that. You know, my father, my mother. You know, my father still in the military, getting ready to retire, and they're like, not anymore. We're going overseas. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
is that everybody's gonna have their novel and their stories, in New York on that day.
it was a day, and whenever we get to that, it'd be deep. It'd probably be a 4 hour episode. Bam tells all.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry you had to go through that though on that
That,
day because you are in New York City. Like I was at school. I was 14, so
yeah.
a
I was like I
bit
said, I was
still.
20 years old. I'm 2 years out of high school.
Right.
Shit, man. I'm like, in a way, when you experience things like that, like catastrophes at a younger age, I may sound a little weird, like, but it's like, I'm kind of glad in a way it happened because, like I said, it opened up a lot of things or, gives you different, like I said before, it gives you different perspectives on life and how quickly things can be gone in an instant.
For sure. All right. This one should be good then. What's a moment from your childhood that still makes you laugh? Oh yeah, you thought it was gonna be all easy questions, huh?
Oh, no, no, no. I have the answer to this one already.
Oh,
It, it was the last time I've ever touched weed in my life. I was 19 years old.
oh,
I remember, now growing up, you trusted the people more easier, 'cause, we all grew up in the community. So, you basically, each other in and out. So, this is the third time I smoked weed in my life. And it was probably the most fun experience ever. So, I took a few hits, okay, I'm relaxed. Took a few more. Okay. Now it's like, I'm going to say maybe it felt like a different personality taking over at some point.
mm-hmm.
And then at time that personality was taking, or different personality taking over, the munchies started to kick in. Now, the thing is, the weed I got for nothing. Weed I got for free. Absolutely free. When I say I went to the deli across the street from where I lived,
Mm-hmm.
I was fucking good. I was good. Whilst I was going to the deli, I had this kid we always hung around with, played around with. I had him in a headlock for about a good 10-minute walk. I don't know. I just felt like the super strength just come over me. I just kept him. He kept trying to come out. I told him like, yo, you think you are? Where the thing go? Where the fucking thing go? Come through. We need to have a talk. We need to talk. We need to talk. Come on, we just gotta talk. We gotta talk. Come on, come on. We just gotta talk. Like I didn't choke him. Like, I just kept him in a headlock so he could breathe,
Right,
but not like hard. I kept it secure to go, but not like choke him out.
right.
You know,
That's funny. That's funny.
Now, I remembered it clear as day. That's the thing. I can remember this shit clear as day. And then my mother asked me, "Did you smoke weed?" I says, "What, Jake? I don't play." In the most sarcastic way I could be. So you ever come home with this? What is it? Twinkies, O's, fucking Snickers bars. I'm like, no, it's what you get for doing the poop, the poop, puff puff.
Uh-huh.
That's it you go. Sometimes it's like that, not always. But for me, it's like that. That's not a sleep I got though. As a teenager, that's not a sleep I ever got.
I believe it too. What's a simple pleasure that never fails to bring you joy?
But honestly, after that, as I started getting older, I just felt like I look back at the 3 times I've done it, and I'm like, I don't see the use. I don't see the use of it. You know,
All right.
like I had my experience with it, and then I'm done with it.
Number 7. What's a simple pleasure that never fails to bring you joy?
Photo shooting.
Photo shooting. Okay.
Yes, photo shooting.
Take pictures a lot.
Yeah, take pictures. Go to like places in New York where it's like scenic, photogenic, and just take pictures and things like that.
Great.
Even to this day, when my girlfriend, my current girlfriend, came to New York, you know, the pictures her and I got of New York were like tops. Tops.
Right.
And even I got some nice pictures out when I went to see her last year out in Minnesota, even though it was like in the middle of like basically a college town. It was like I still got some nice scenic shots, It was like get the moment, attached to, maybe the direction of the sun at that particular moment. There's a lot of things that play into it.
That makes a lot of some of these questions I got right on the nose for you then. What's one story from your life that you think defines you? Just one story. Is it that same in 2001 or is it a different scenario?
I think this is gonna, I was 18 years old. I was dating this girl. She was a little on the trouble side, but my mother was willing to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, she, we, I, we were willing to, she was willing to talk to the assistant principal of the high school I was in, and then to see if we can get her in school and get her back going. Because even though my mother didn't like her, she did it for me. She did. You know, my mother, she was just that kind of person. She may not like, but you're with her son, her baby boy. All right, she's gonna try to make a baby boy happy and do the best for the girl. But this one particular day, it was my birthday, and I wasn't feeling. We went to this carnival by Old State Stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and needless to say, I went on one ride. I was never much of a parks ride per se, so it was like we went on this one ride where it was like a spin within a spin. So it was like a spinning, and then the chair started to spin at the same time, and it would go up in the air. I forgot what you call those. And then, I said, okay, I closed my eyes and I just endured the spinning without seeing it. I think I'll be fine. I the damn chair was sitting where her and I was sitting in started creaking. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose it. My eyes opened, and that was the worst thing I could do. So now everything is going like double circles, at a pretty decent speed. And I got sick. I remember my brother's girlfriend had came with me at that time, and I think my brother had came with me too. It's kind of like a little family thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, I'm laying on the bench, and the next thing you know, I see the girl that I was supposed to be with walk off with the next dude that she was supposedly just a friend with. And that really kind of like opened eyes. I'm like, okay, no matter how much you try to do for people, that's what I say. Run quick, get kicked. Sometimes you got to get kicked once to really get it.
It all goes back to the beginning.
Exactly. Everything will tie into it one way or another.
It just makes me feel great that I was able to put these questions together like this. Then,
Exactly.
let's see
That was tough. That rip was tough.
what it's supposed to do.
That's not the birthday is supposed to be.
If you had to pick a New York City landmark that represents your personality, you being the photographer, which one would it be? You get one landmark
One landmark.
in the entire city.
I would have to say I'm at a torn between you know, I would have to say the World Trade Center. Brought down, rebuilt back up, bigger, better than ever,
Right.
You know, you can tear me down, I'm gonna come back up.
Right.
And that's what you're supposed to do. You get kicked off your horse, get yourself back up on. That's it.
Right.
You know. People want you to baby it back. I wasn't born in the generation of baby. You get your ass up there on yourself, on your own. That's it. I teach my kids that. I said, I'm not gonna be around, this whole life, the baby y'all. Y'all gotta just start doing shit on your own. Y'all gotta look out for each other.
Right.
And believe it or not, they just feed it to them.
Hmm. I wonder how this answer is going to be right here. Because you've already named certain parts of your life, and you're probably just going to fill this one in, which is going to be great. We're learning so much about you already. If you look back on the last 44 years, what's the most unexpected turn your life has taken?
When I was 22, got married, too young. And boy, the ride was anything but smooth sailing. I'm surprised it lasted 9 years from the time of marriage to the official divorce settlement.
God,
9 years.
you feel like you got married too young?
We talked about it after we got separated and divorced, and we said, yeah, we were too young. But I says, your ass, you know, you sitting there, you want, everything this. You told my sister-in-law, well, my brother's girlfriend, you wanted 7 kids. That is unhinged shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's
I only want
that's
two.
crazy, bro.
I, I only want two. I'm good, but she wanted 7. And then she talked about, I want the system to take care of us. I'm like, no, the fuck, the system ain't taking care of me. No, the last thing you want. I said, you could do that with somebody else. Don't do that shit with me. Don't do that shit with me. Maybe I have a little too much pride. I don't know.
Tell them you want 7 kids, you better get a job at an orphanage.
Exactly.
You have 7
You
kids
want,
every day.
you want 7 kids? Go work in a fucking daycare center. You'll get more than enough.
We are about halfway through. Oh, yep. Another hour-long episode. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine too. Yeah.
Number 11. What's the This is not this is yeah, purpose on purpose. It'll probably be here next week too. What's the best and worst thing about being in New York?
The best thing is, well, I don't know what the next guy from New York will tell you, but for me, is the fact that I don't have to be a car brain to go anywhere. I could jump on where I'm at, go where I need to go, and then still end up home. And that's that.
Right.
It gets me home, work, whatever. And, like I said, I don't have to be a car brain. I don't have to sit there, take maybe 25 minutes to get home and 2.5 hours to find parking.
Got you.
And then the worst thing, where do I start? But if I'm going to pick for me, the worst thing is like, this is probably the most boring answer you'll get out of me. The fucking traffic.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, look, I could sit here and say the rats, but that's any big city with a homeless infestation problem and a fucking bunch of people who don't know how to drop the garbage and where it's supposed to be, shit like that. And that's expected, you know. Just don't beat them. That's how I look at it. Don't beat them, you know. So, I mean, like I said, the worst part I just say is the travel, which is why I'm glad I'm not a car bringing here.
Since I'll never have a New York City question about me, I can tell you the worst part of New York for me was the trash. But that's because I had to pick it up in the semis from Staten Island.
Oh, you mean
Oh.
that giant dumpster place? Yeah.
Mhm. And take it wherever the hell they wanted me to take the trash. Usually it was the Buffalo. Yeah, that was the worst part of New York because traffic didn't bother me just because of my nature of my job.
Yeah.
I got paid to sit in the truck.
We got paid to sit in traffic.
The best part of New York was the food.
Oh yeah, the food, obviously. Yeah. I mean, everybody would say food. I'm gonna go, like I said, I try to provide different perspective, maybe give different answers. Of
Well,
course, we're probably
the food itself, the answers of the best part being the food. People got to make the food, so it's also saying, well, without the food or without the people, you don't get the food. So that's actually two answers in one: the food, but it also means the people as well.
right,
Just fucking trash.
right.
It's gonna be a good. I'm gonna save that question for next week for Ty.
Yeah,
All right, here's two more that we got back to back that everybody else is gonna get.
yeah.
Is there a lesson? It might be your marriage thing here. Is there a lesson you've learned the hard way that you think everyone should hear?
Well, considering I'm probably the eldest member of, I am the eldest member of Triple P, and I know where I would stand, amongst HTU and
I'm the
anybody else.
oldest, and you're 6 years older than me.
Okay, so if I had to basically, I'm doling out advice like an uncle. Basically, that's what I'm doing. Basically, I mean, I could sit here, we could do 3 hours on advice. And I'm going to give the best thing of advice. Nobody is going to take care of you better than yourself. Unless you're lucky like me and you have a wonderful partner who it looks out for you like if you were looking out for yourself.
Right.
Now, I'm going to tell you before we go on, this is what I mean by be careful who you pick up in life. This is the opposite. She on my birthday, she got me a mini tripod for my phone. So when I do a podcast, I don't have to sit there and hold.
Right. You can just put it on a thing and be, yeah.
And then she got me new headphones. So I just sit there and hear feedback from my old headphones.
Oh, that's why the first thing when you put them in, I was like, oh shit, this is way different already.
No, this is the Bluetooth. This is the wireless one.
Okay.
The wireless one. He said that sometimes people can't hear me on these, but you're saying you're hearing me good. So, I guess it depends on what's coming out the other end.
They could. I mean, a lot of them use their phones and iPads and the mobile devices. Not everybody uses a CPU. No, but not everybody is meticulous about their settings either, like I am. They default it and they don't touch anything. It is what it is. I can hear you.
So she's the MVP. She looked out, and I'm grateful to have her in my life, and she's happy to have me in hers. And like I said, make sure, like I said, she takes care of me as if I know how to take care of myself. She puts me, like I would put myself first, and I put her as such a high, priority too. Like she said it. I take care of her. I look out for her. I support her better than she's ever supported herself.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer, and I hope everybody actually. I hope somebody, Lynn, clip that answer in question. They do it. Being the oldest member of Triple P, you certainly have to. You're 44. Your youngest member is both Nep and Matt, if I'm not mistaken, at 18.
19 and 18.
19.
Yeah.
One just had a birthday as well. So with that broad of a gap, what is the one thing you learned from being part of that podcast that you didn't expect to learn?
It's amazing, like how I think mentally mature, even though sometimes they're off the rails more often than not. You've seen it yourself. I've seen it. We see it every day. But if you sit them down and have serious conversations, they're ready for the world. If you ask me, I think I think sometimes I think they're matured past their years. If you sit down and talk to them and how much knowledge they have about some nostalgic stuff, some stuff that you and I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me proud. You know, these kids are old enough to be my kids, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm just like, wow, I could, they can learn from me. Hell, I could even learn from them. We grow in such a unique bond, and we, like I said, I look forward to growing, and I'm watching these guys, Matt, Neff, grow into great, great men,
Right.
they're who they are, and I'm okay with that, But when it comes to the nitty gritty of the things that they need to do,
Mm-hmm.
top tier, and I give those guys nothing but credit, and if they need something, I'm all ears for them,
They're gonna love to. They need to watch this entire episode. They're gonna love to hear about it.
Yeah.
Here's another funny one. What What's one thing tourists always get wrong about New York?
The motherfucking suburbs. I could sit there, point you the right way, say, look, this train is coming. You get on this one. You count on your fingers how many stops. One, you got to go 5 stops. Let's say 34 Herald Square by the Empire State Building. You want to go to Empire State Building and see Godzilla? No problem. Okay, 5 stops. And they still won't get on the train. So then they're like somebody else, the same question. I just told you what to do. I've been here all my life. I will not steer you wrong. Now, I could be a dick sending to the fucking Bronx to get love, but no, I'm not that kind of person. I'm heading up towards Peyton and Ty's way. They'll learn a thing or two about New York there.
I might regret this one because there's been a lot of these moments. What's the most memorable moment or episode from Triple P, and why does it stand out?
Oh man, I think it was the one where we started like. It was the story where I shared my story about these the little women, the I forgot this, Mexican, somewhere from Central America,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to sell you candy. They're trying to sell you candy. And this one time, the lady tried to sell me fucking Snickers bar for $3. And that's when I came out and said, I ain't paying for your fucking Visa. You want to pay for your Visa for $3 for Snickers bar? Are you fucking sick? What's wrong with you? They got Snicker, candy, chicken. Everybody lost their shit, man. I was like, you could just see Ty's. I think Ty's soul temporarily left his body that month. Go back and watch that episode. I forgot which one it was, but it was probably like 3, 4 episodes ago,
Okay.
or maybe longer. But you could ask Guy or.
Yeah, well, I'll ask them about it after the episode or when this airs. They probably tell me about it. All right,
Yeah.
cool. This is another big question that everybody gets. They're probably gonna ask me this too. Um, if you could send a message to your past self, what would you say?
Don't do it. 3 simple words. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll repeat it about 20 times, but it's just 3 simple.
You have to walk around yourself. No, don't do it. Don't
Put a
do it.
stun gun. Put a stun gun to my back. You're gonna catch this. You're gonna catch this. Don't do it.
As the easiest one in the world is don't do it. That's brilliant.
No explanation needed. Just don't.
Number 17. Oh yeah,
17?
we've been there. Yeah, we've been up there. Where do you see Triple P in 5 years?
Where do I see Triple P in 5 years? As one of the higher rated podcasts probably across the country, if not around the world. So we strive, we're doing our best to make the product better week by week. And there's only one place you can go. Up. We started at the bottom. We started with 0 subscribers. We're almost at 100. That'll be a nice milestone. And like I said, the more this catches win, the more we'll be a top tier, top brand. It takes a lot of work, but if you're dedicated, you like what you do, and you're dedicated to your craft, anything can happen if you put the work into it.
Exactly.
I mean, look at you guys. Look at HTU, ITC. Look at them guys. They didn't get overnight success. They had to work for it, right?
Yeah, they did. They went through a lot of, according to them, they went through a lot of what we're going through now. So it kind of lets us calm down and focus.
And a lot of it's like we like Chisel Adonis, a couple of guys I follow, like this is a shout out to like a couple of soccer guys I watch, Expression Oozing, Mark Goldberg. These guys do not have overnight success. They have to build their brand. They have to build their brand through hard work, making endless content, making the people laugh. Sometimes towing the line of cancellation, being canceled. But if you can't be controversial, if you're not afraid if you can't toe the line, don't approach it.
Right.
Sometimes you can't be afraid. It's what'll get you. You got to make a name for yourself somehow. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Here's another everybody question.
Okay.
What's your dream crossover with another podcaster group?
Ooh, man, dream podcaster. Wow. Ooh, wow. There's so much we could do with this. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, we tried to get Ross on the podcast. We tried to get Ross.
That was earlier. I think on the 5-hour stream that we had last week, I think both Dub and Ross said, they'll try to have more time for the smaller groups, us and you guys. He told Guy that. So
yeah,
they're busy a lot.
I mean, like I said, there's so many podcasts out there, and it's like it's hard to pick one. I mean, you could always pick the one with the most followers, but it's like you also got to pick the one that's been sustained the longest. Also, even though they might not have as many followers or viewers as the top rated one, but the one that's sustained, that's been around the longest. They haven't been around by accident. So I always say the more sustainable, the one that's put in the more time. People like that, if I would like to be able to cross create, a little bit,
Right. Yeah. That the number of followers doesn't matter to me. It's just the content, if it's more in line with us. So
yeah, that's true.
things like that. Like I've been thinking about things. We react. We make funny videos. We do all these shows that we have. We react is the main thing. Is I've been trying, like, you know what? I'm getting back into wrestling. I borrow Triple P guys to do reactions. Like I've been thinking about things like that. That's why I'm probably sick. I'm not sick because I'm getting sick. I'm sick because I'm overworked and I feel sick.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
Ooh, we're almost done. Number 19. What's the biggest obstacle you faced in pursuing your ambitions?
Biggest obstacle?
Oh yeah, these questions are going to get deep. Last 3 questions.
I say sometimes like, you ever like, and say, okay, I'm gonna put it to you in rock climbing terms. When you climb and up, let's say 5,000 foot mountain, you're at marker 4995.
Mhm.
And then you're going up, and then for whatever rhyme or reason, you just get to 4998 or 4999, and you grab onto a rock. And that motherfucker just falls out, and you're falling out all, and you just poof, back to square one.
Right.
That's that's pretty much like, you think you're there, and then poof, something unbeknownst for no rhyme or reason, that goes down.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I won't climb that mountain again. That doesn't
Right.
mean I don't try. That doesn't mean I won't stop trying.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go back up that fucking mountain, and I'm gonna get to that 5,000 foot. If I die trying, not literally, but in a figurative sense, you know. You know.
Biggest obstacle you face basically is life, unexpected life events, but it hasn't
Yeah.
stopped you.
No, and it shouldn't stop anybody. Could it be? Is it discouraging? Absolutely. Would I blame anybody for, like, going to the side and just like, what the fuck else do I need to do? No, but it's how you react to it. You get your ass back up on that mountain, climb again. You're gonna get it right one of these days. It's gonna happen.
Exactly. All right. There's another big question. If people remember just one thing about you 50 years from now, what do you hope it is?
The wise words that I give them, the conversations, the sit downs, something like what you and I are having. You
Mhm.
know, this is something, things like that. Remember, you can remember, getting a selfie with such and such person, this and that. Nah, it's things that make you grow as a person, makes you make better decisions for yourself. Don't fall into the bullshit a lot of these people fall into nowadays. You know, for what, 15 minutes of fame? What the fuck out of you. Your fame is supposed to last forever, not 15 minutes. Fuck out of here. You work too hard for that. You work too hard.
Exactly.
You work to get where you are. Nothing is handed to you in life. Nothing is handed.
Exactly.
So now I'm just like, that's what I'm doing. I hope everybody remembers everything, we talk about, whether it be in private conversation, public conversation, even something like this, what you and I are doing, you know?
Hell yeah. All right. The last big question.
Uh-huh.
Earlier, I asked you if you could send a message to your past self, what would you say? So my final question to you is, what is the message? What is the message you want to tell your future self?
Climb that mountain, bitch, and don't stop until you get to the top. If you fall back down, you get back up. Fall down, you get back up.
Motivation. You're giving yourself motivation in case it keeps happening.
Exactly.
That's
And if you
good.
have the right support system behind you, like I do, you're gonna get. She's gonna, and she's gonna have to be behind you to make sure you don't fall. In my case, she'll be behind me to do that. That's
What
how much of a winner I have. How much of a That's how much.
your answer in the first one, the title of your book again?
Learn quick or get kicked.
That's motivation. So that you started at
Yeah.
motivation and you ended at motivation.
Yes. You see how the whole thing just went full circle?
Oh yeah, and that was fun too. That was a very fun journey.
Yeah.
Uh this was nothing but an introductory episode. What
Yeah.
I eventually expect to have everybody on the show is to come back at some point in time later on and we talk about something different, a little bit less direct and more New Yorky like Giants and sports teams and things of that nature. They understand the actual, what
Yeah, I
makes
get it.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this entire 21 questions was an icebreaker.
Yeah.
uh, and I learned much about my counterpart. So, uh,
I hope that whatever you learn from me, you take it and just understand whoever watches this, I come from a good place inside. I come from a good place.
it's one of the first ones that I wanted on my show was him, and I got it. So, uh,
There you go.
thanks a
See?
lot. Thanks a lot, Chris.
No,
We look
thank you.
forward.
Thank you for giving me the privilege to be with you.
Right.
I thank you.
No problem. We do look forward to a lot of Triple P's future, as well as yours. A lot of things, like you said, you do photo shoots and things like that. So we look forward to all that future. You know,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the partnership that we're building, as long as aside from your brand, our brand, hopefully the partnerships we're all building will come to fruition somewhere with Chiseled and ITC as big, huge supporters as well for both.
Of course. Absolutely.
Um,
I know Chiseled and ITC, they're very
Very
tight.
close. That's why it's also a full circle thing. So we're
Yeah.
got our P's and Q's in order there. It has been a pleasure to have our viewers that will eventually watch. It'll be a pleasure for to have y'all here today. Uh, be sure to check out Playin Possum podcast. I'm gonna have their direct link in the description, as well as the link to the podcast section in hgunlimited.com's website because they're on there. They're not an HGU product brand,
Right.
but they're a partner. So I wanted to put them somewhere where they would see more traffic.
Of
So
course.
as always, I am OG Bam, which I'm not even the OG. He's the OG because he's older than me, but I'm OG. And this is
You
21.
see, you see the whites, I'm OG.
The
I'm
21
OG and
questions,
OG.
a high ground question and answer Q&As. And it's been a pleasure. And you don't have to go anywhere, but it's been a pleasure. And I will see you all next week.
Check y'all out in the podcast.